If you could go back and say something to your younger self now, what do you think you'd tell your younger self?
Don't be such a rebel. I did things I shouldn't do at work. I bent rules. I would rent a Winnebago. We had these computers that you demonstrated. Well, I couldn't get the guys in to see the demonstration. You know, how could I sell something? They wouldn't come look at it. So I'd rent a Winnebago, and I'd put the computer in the back of the Winnebago, and I'd go set up on their parking lot. And I said, I want to show you a computer. I ain't got time. Well, it's right out here in your parking lot. Come on out. He'd come out there and he couldn't believe it, you know. But I'd run a Winnebago to their office so that they could, you know, they couldn't say no, they're not going to look at it. You know, and other people didn't do things like that. And it's just crap that I did to accomplish the goal, you know. Okay, next question. We're going to go upstairs and take a picture of that room up there.
Okay, let's
Y'all
do it.
go.
Yeah.
Have any of y'all been upstairs?
Yeah.
Oh, you used to play video games.
Yeah.
This is the starting of bingo that we hand out at Christmas. 75 people, bingo 4 times. Do the math. How many gifts do I have to buy? 300?
That's a lot of gifts.
Okay.
Insane.
Yeah.
So there will be, before Christmas, 300 gifts piled in this room.
I keep forgetting there's that many people.
That's that many people. And this is the Aggie room. Turn the light on in the bathroom, see if it jumps at you. Go stand in there.
Yeah, I've been in here. This is the Aggie shrine.
Yeah, but that wallpaper kind of puts you in a state of euphoria.
It does it. Across your eyes.
When I first started with Burroughs, I went in there and there's these guys around, you know, that are salesmen. And you're just, duh, here I am, you know, and you don't know what you're going to do. And I watched these guys and I went with them and they'd come in about 8 o'clock in the morning, 8:30, they'd jaw a little bit, what they did last night. And they'd go drink a cup of coffee. You know, 9:30 we'd go drink a cup of coffee. We'd come back in about 10:15 and we'd work about an hour. They'd come in and go to lunch. We'd take about an hour and a half lunch, and in the afternoon, about 3 o'clock, let's go have a cup of coffee, you know. And they didn't do any work. And I said, this sucks. I'm not going to be able to make money doing like these guys do. So I always went my own way. And I'd go sometimes drink a cup of coffee because I wanted to be friends with them. But I didn't do what they did. I worked my ass off. And I did. I would make calls on the way home, which, you know, I was going anyway. I could stop and talk to this, you know. And I always did well because I worked harder than other people did, probably to a fault, you know. And with me, 2 things, hard work and fear of failure. I did have fear of failure because I never had anybody tell me anything. I didn't know whether it'd work or not, you know. So I tried it, you know. There you are. I could tell stories that you wouldn't believe that I did. I was a sales manager, and we worked in the country. Greenville was my best town. In Dallas, they had a computer room that they would demonstrate to customers and everything. Well, I didn't have one of those. It was a disadvantage. So I went up to Greenville, and I rented a little office suite up there. Paid for it myself. I had to have carpet. I had to have everything. I went to the carpet shop, and I said, what would it cost to put blue carpet on the floor? And the guy told me, and I said, well, I can't get it approved on my expense report. So I said, will you sell it to me and let me pay you $50 a month? He said, yeah. So I put my carpet in there. I got everything in the office that way. I bent the rules like you can't believe. I didn't steal, but I went to the white and gray. I went to the edge of the gray, you know. And one day my boss, I tripped up. One day my boss, we had a better demonstrating room than they had in Dallas and Greenville, which was my little territory. And one day he wanted to come up and do something in Greenville, and I said, oh shit. So I come up there and I said, let's go to lunch. We go to lunch, and you know, I make some calls with him, and I've done everything but go to the office, you know. And he says, well, let's go back. I need to make some phone calls because you didn't have cell phones back then. And we walked in the office, and I unlocked the door, and we walked in there, and I knew. And I remember he looked at me and he said, holy cow. He said, where'd you get this? I said, do you really want to know? He said, forget I asked you that. And he let me go with it. He let me go. It wasn't stealing, but there's just ways to do things. And I always kind of could find a way that was on the border of being illegal and legal. And I'd get it done that way. Like I say, we had a better suite of demonstration rooms than they had. My parents didn't know what social graces were. I never had anybody that I could ask, should I major in accounting or engineering? I never had anybody that knew anything about it in my family. My dad was gone all the time and my mother didn't know. My dad, my senior year in college, after he got out of the hospital and came back, I remember he asked me a question one day. He said, boy, what are you studying down there? And I said, Daddy, I wondered if you was ever going to get around to asking me that question. And I told him I was studying accounting and everything. I'm not sure he knew I was at A&M. You know, I didn't have any leadership. I really didn't. I'm not over-exaggerating. I had to do it on my own. And I think it trained me because everything I did, I didn't have anybody to show me how. I didn't have anybody to... My brother was 7 years older than I was. He was long gone. I literally didn't have a mentor, okay? And that was probably what caused the bad parts of my personality. I did what I wanted. I did what I decided was best for myself. And most times it was good. I was a good Christian boy and I worked hard. And if you like people and you work hard, you'll do well. So I didn't really have a mentor. I really didn't, and I'm not evading that question, but I don't know who I would have asked something like that.